Hi guys, welcome back to Red Flag Radio F1 YouTube channel. We are here to talk about the biggest transfer news of F1 this season. Max Verstappen will stay with Red Bull for 2026, something he himself has just confirmed it today. The biggest transfer saga of the season is officially over. No Mercedes, no shock move. Max is sticking with the team that's been his home for over a decade now.
This is going to be a weird one because for a lot of us it seemed like going to Mercedes is the next sensible step for Max because this year the car is just not there. But you're wrong in having that opinion in that this is an isolated event. In fact, all we have been witnessing in the past 5 years, give or take, is the Red Bull dominance. So given this thing, I am definitely happy that Max is staying at Red Bull, and there are two very big reasons for that, at least in my opinion, which is A, as you said, he's been with Red Bull for a little over a decade now, since 2014 until now, and if a team has spent so much time, money, and effort investing all that into you, why would you leave that? The team is surrounded around Max, so it makes absolute sense for them and Max both to continue this relation. The fact is that drivers bring championships for constructors, not the other way around. Teams hire two drivers to make money off of constructors' wins because ultimately F1 is a business. F1 teams are a business. So therefore, it makes a lot of sense for Max to stay here because he's not gonna get this kind of help or this kind of support from an entire team to do whatever he wants at any other team now if he makes a sudden whiplash move. The teams will just not give him this much creative freedom over what direction the car development goes in. And therefore, that brings me to my second point, which is that Red Bull has, at least for the past 5 years, given Max a blank check to develop the car the way he wants to so that the championships keep rolling in. And again, no other team's gonna do that. So regardless of whether you see this as a business move from Red Bull or a driver move from Max, it makes sense either way. Staying is the safest bet. Staying is the most logical bet if you're trying to continue this partnership where you're, as a driver, getting a championship winning car and the team is getting their constructors' money. And you know what, maybe if this doesn't work out in 2026, he can go switch to some other team in 2027. But giving this one more honest shot rather, is the bare minimum, I feel.
Absolutely, man. Max Verstappen has been part of the Red Bull family since 2014. That's more than 10 years of trust, development, and building a relationship. He started his journey with Red Bull and he knows about this team. And I think from last 5 years, we can say that Red Bull is Max Verstappen. So the flexibility which Red Bull has given to Max Verstappen, I don't think that will happen anytime soon for any other constructor because even though we say that Max Verstappen is one man show for any team, but I don't think any team will take that risk straight away because they want both drivers fighting hard for that championship. You can take McLaren as an example for this year, where both drivers are fighting so hard. And obviously, because they have that car which works well for both drivers. So both drivers are happy, they can fight. But from last 4 5 years we are seeing that Red Bull is dependent on only one driver. We saw Pierre Gasly who struggled. Alex Albon came. Sergio Perez was there for some time, but even he couldn't answer what was wrong with that car. And now recently we saw Liam Lawson was there for two races, and Yuki Tsunoda is struggling really hard with this car. And obviously, we know Red Bull is one of the most dominant team in last 15 years. If it's not Red Bull, then probably Mercedes is the other team. But if you have to put your money on any team, then probably these are the two teams that you have to think about. And at this moment, I think it makes sense to go with that stability. Red Bull has been the dominant car since 2010 until 2013, and then fought back in 2021, and then absolutely crushed it in 2022 and 2023. And we saw how crazy life was in Red Bull with all the leadership things that were happening, with all the people leaving the team. We saw now Christian Horner has been sacked and Lauren Mekies has stepped up with this team. And we saw that stability in some way in Belgian Grand Prix as well. It was less chaotic, to be honest. So which we can't say that was happening under the Christian Horner's leadership from past 1-2 years at least. So I think Red Bull is looking for that stability. They got Lauren Mekies, even Max Verstappen will stay at least for 2026. So we are talking about team who has done historically so well, and now they are looking for that right members to create a legacy, because 2026 is a era where no one knows what will happen. Any team can, be the perfect team, and not only for 2026 but for upcoming years till maybe 2030 even. So we are entering in that complete new era with new engines, new aerodynamics, new everything. So nobody knows who is going to nail it. Maybe Mercedes with their engine expertise, maybe even Ferrari finally surprises us, who knows, or maybe even Red Bull with Ford Powertrains, because no one knows what's going on there. Let's just don't go with the rumors, okay? It can work out well, but there are cases where it won't. So maybe Red Bull is the car with the rocket ship for 2026. Maybe Max Verstappen knows something that we don't know. Remember the case of Lewis Hamilton in 2012 when everyone laughed at Lewis Hamilton for leaving McLaren, which was one of the most dominant car. Obviously, it was not reliable, but it was very fast. And he decided to join Mercedes, which was not that quick. And you know what happened? He won 6 world titles with Mercedes. So
Yeah, and for that matter, when he went to Top Gear for his interview, the famous clip from which is one of the most famous ancillary F1 media clips, which is Clarkson saying,
You have moved from McLaren to Mercedes. Is that not a bit like moving from Manchester United to West Ham?
and even Jeremy Clarkson, the GOAT himself, was wrong. So, man,
Yeah.
quite right. Don't base your judgments off of any rumors, because, one of the rumors this season, and the rumor was supported by some evidence, was that Williams was supposed to be the best of the rest. But that rumor is proving more and more shaky by every single race weekend. So, it may well be the case that the Mercedes engine in 2026 is straight away made up of some science fiction antimatter stuff, but it is still ultimately a rumor. It remains to be seen, even if it is the fastest engine that even God himself can produce, if it's reliable or not. Maybe it's the case like 2010-11 McLaren, where they may have the fastest car, but the car blows up into a million bits every time it sees the track. So we don't know, man. It
Yeah.
is not right to gamble off of a one-off or another team's rumor. It makes sense to stick to what you know best.
Absolutely, man. And by staying, I think he gets a front row seat to see where everyone stands in 2026. If Red Bull's car is a rocket ship, great. He's already in the right place and he can stay there for even 5-10 years, and he can create that legacy and maybe overtake Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher for 7 world titles, because obviously he wants that as well. Everyone wants that. But if it's a disaster, he has the knowledge, he has the leverage, he has the data, and he can take whatever option he wants for 2027. He is the best driver of this era. He obviously, any team will try their level best to sign Max Verstappen, whether it's Mercedes, who knows, maybe Aston Martin can be that team to be part of. They are with Honda engines, which Max Verstappen knows a lot about. We know Adrian Newey is working on that car as well, and he's the best designer. And obviously, Aston Martin have their wind tunnel as well, and they're moving into their own state of facilities. So maybe Aston Martin can be that team, or even McLaren. We know McLaren has done so well, but who knows? Something goes wrong. Maybe McLaren can sign him up, right?
Yeah, do.
No one knows.
Hypothetically, let's say the way things are going, okay, based on just what we have seen in the past couple of seasons, let's say hypothetically Oscar wins this year, and if the Mercedes engine is great and McLaren nail their aerodynamics again next year, let's say Oscar wins another championship next year. they may well sack Lando, man, because they've invested a lot of time and money into Lando as well. And if he can't show up, they may just sack him. इस sport में कोई किसी का सगा नहीं है, so it is entirely
Exactly.
possible they dump him. And that could
Yeah.
see the door being open for Max at McLaren as well. I mean, we don't know. It's just a story of ifs, maybes, and perhaps at this point.
So I think what he's doing right now is take that safe bet, see how things are with Red Bull, with other teams, and if he gets the opportunity in 2026, take it, man. And even when he was talking about all the rumors today, he just said that I'm discussing with the Red Bull team already the plans for 2026, how we can improve, what things we have to change. And he said, if my boat is next to Toto Wolff's, then the boat is next to Toto's. So that's a clear nod to Toto Wolff, that respect is there. But right now, Max is fully locked in for Red Bull. But there's that scope where maybe he can leave Red Bull and probably join Mercedes in 2027 if that opportunity comes. So who knows, man? Anything can happen here. But 2026 is a total reset. So nobody, not even Max Verstappen, can predict how this plays out. For his sake, hopefully it does. But if not, then probably he can come back and decide where to go for 2027 and beyond. And that's what makes it so exciting right now. So let us know in the comments, how do you think this is going to be? Do you think Max staying loyal is the smartest move, or he should have left it right away and probably see how things would be in 2026? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And remember, when the drama hits, we are waving the red flag. Goodbye.